Hey guys, and welcome to another video. About 2 weeks ago, I think it's exactly 12 days, I did a challenge with two guys, a 2 versus 1 challenge, and one of the guys was 800 elo, and I gave him some coaching and some reviews on his gameplay, and now he managed to climb up the ladder from 800 elo to 1000 elo. And as I already made a video about that, I'm now going to make a video about the other guy. So the other guy was 700 elo. And we've played 3 games just a couple of days ago. I think like 2 or 3 days ago. 3 days ago. 2 were on Nomad, so these 2 were on Nomad. And then there was a 3rd game on African Clearing. So yeah, basically let's just have a look at it. And let's see whether the other guy also could improve his gameplay a bit with my advice that I gave him. And I think without the Fog of War might be nicer. Yeah. So I am playing as the Byzantines in this case. Usually I would be playing Dravidians, but I've already got my reward medal for winning with the Dravidians 100 times. So I'm starting to try out new civilizations like Japanese, Byzantines, Malay, or even Bengalis. Although I prefer them on Northern Isles or Arena, but they're also quite nice. Oh, I wanted to write make a dog, but I put an E in it, so I basically said make a dick. And yeah, that was of course censored by this great AoE censoring system. But nothing so special about this point. Yeah, I'll type it down in the comments. Okay. It's interesting how we're placed. So here's my green ally as Malay. Here I am as Byzantines. And now the one enemy, the one Italian enemy is here. And the next enemy, the Vietnamese, is here. It's actually interesting because this way we are both split up. And I would say that this situation on the map is actually quite beneficial for the two of us. Especially as we are pretty close to each other, so that we can help out each other. But we could basically focus on one enemy, and the other one would be pretty far away, so it would be pretty hard to help at this point. So that's something. Here's a mistake or a thing that is very problematic usually, and that is that this TC is pretty close to the water. So that's like 7, 8, 9, yeah, 10 tiles away from the water. I wouldn't suggest you to do that. This is a little bit in the gray zone, but still okay. It's actually funny how close I am to the enemy without noticing it. We have a look at that. Yeah, but this is the thing that I would not suggest you to go very close to a waterline on Nomad, because in case you're losing water and when your opponents are Byzantines and Malay, that is very much an option because both civs are well above average on water maps. So if you build a TC very close to the water and you've lost water because we came with some Byzantine fire ships and so on in Feudal Age, your TC will be very vulnerable, or also your whole eco will be very vulnerable to ships that are shooting arrows from the sea. So never go too close to the water. I think like this distance is pretty nice, or like this is pretty nice. But yeah, this is in the gray zone. This is a little bit problematic. Yeah, actually it's almost the same because I put a dock here. But these two, they are too close to the water in my opinion. One thing by the way, the Vietnamese player can see us all. Yeah, so that's basically what the Vietnamese player would see at this moment. I wouldn't say that the Vietnamese are one of the strongest civs on Nomad, but the fact that you instantly know where the TCs of the enemies are is definitely a very strong thing on this map. Usually it's not that much of a bonus. I mean, on Arena for instance, it's not really helpful to know where the TC of the enemy is, because yeah, you can see the walls pretty clearly with your scout, and it's kind of self-explanatory where everything is at this point. But yeah, on Nomad, that's of course not too shabby. And the first enemy has gone up. It's funny how all the colors here are mixed up. Now when I select red, basically I get my own people. That's really strange. I don't know why it mixed up the colors here. I usually don't have that. Oh god, let's go on. Let's go on. And it's interesting to see that the green player made a lot of fishing boats and also has a lot of people on wood. I don't like this lumber camp because there's already VTC next to it. I rather would have put the lumber camp here so that you can use this part and also this part. Yeah, but just one thing that I noticed here at this point. Oh, and he's got a mill here. Interesting. Yeah, but I'm now on feudal age, which means I will be producing fire galleys. Yeah, exactly. We're already on the way. And I know approximately where the docks are, I think. Ah, okay, that's bad. At this point, I should already have taken one fishing boat and make a cruise around the isle to know where everything is at this point. Yeah, please scout. And so far, still not much happening. So let's wind up a little bit more. If you're hearing a strange noise in the background, that's the fan of my PC. I've got a problem with it, and it is extremely loud in the background. So just at the moment, it's really starting up, and I have my headphones on, but I can very clearly hear it. So I would be a little bit surprised if you couldn't hear it on the recording later on. Okay, that's an interesting wall. I mean, instead of having this wall here, it would have been much more sensible to have a wall around here and have a second one around here, because then you have much more space and control. And the thing is, when you're down here and here's a hill, if you put archers on there, we also have a hill bonus. So I don't really like this wall, but it's the enemy's wall, so that's kind of okay. As you can see, also the green player is pretty close to me in score. I like that. And the other two players, they are pretty much behind. But that is mainly due to the fact that we didn't know how to properly start on Nomad. Oh, and now the Byzantine fire galleys are doing their magic, and they are cleaning these boats here. But let's keep our focus on the green player. After all, he's the one that I want to review in this video. There's a lot of people on stone and gold already. That's interesting. Ah, okay, now I found my dog here and attacked with some men-at-arms, okay. And I'm slowly preparing for Castle Age, okay. And I also got a fair bit of people on stone, 5 people on stone. Oh, now that sort of houses here. How many is that? 5, 9, 10, 15 houses. Okay. It's enough pop space for 75 people. I'm not too happy about the placing of force, because this is wasting a lot of space. And also don't think that he would need that many. Let's just have a look at... Sorry, the colors are again all wrong. Let's try again. Amadi, if I've got the right player selected at this point, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, he already has 75 pop space, so all these houses. That's a little bit chaotic. Okay, now fire ships are not doing anything. That's of course not good. I should send them to the south. And I actually have some fire ships here, but they're not doing anything. That's not good. That's not good. Such things you should keep track of usually. And I'm doing some archer rushing here with some archers that have a botliner already. Our crossbows, that's even nicer. And I will very soon put a castle here. It's also crazy that he's making all these houses with just one villager. It's really strange. Oh, but he made a lot of ruses. I mean fish traps. But also, again, that's a little bit strange. I mean, instead of doing that, it would be much more sensical to put one more dock here in the south, or maybe here, and just use these fishing boats on the fish in the south, because, I mean, why would you want to make fish traps that cost you 100 wood each, when there is still so much free food on the map? And he also has some army, so he could basically send all his army to the south to protect his fishing ship. Yeah, but that's also another thing that I criticized with the other player, with the other guy, that we've seen in the other video. That, yeah, basically... Yeah, shooting down. Also the other player, Darren, or Pride as he is called in the game, he had the problem that he had a lot of inactive army, and he just didn't make use of his army. Or he was gathering forces until he had like 20 and then attacked. So, yeah, having units just standing around like that is of course never good. But yeah, to be fair, I also forgot about these two. So I guess I'm not the one who can be blaming here. But this one's basically already pretty much through. As Byzantine, I will of course go fast feudal, put some traps out, and at this point I think it's pretty much clear that this game won't go on for a very long time. But let's wind up a little bit more. Oh, and he's making a nice castle. I like that because it's immediately on the wood line. And he's having those elephants that are destroying the buildings now. He could now actually take the gold in the store. Oh, okay, he's making another castle. But there's already a castle building up, so that's failing, I think. Oh, no, okay, it didn't fail. It worked out. Okay, okay. Okay. Yeah, but overall, it's looking quite good. I must also add, as we were playing a team game, both players were pretty much on the same level as I remember. Now these guys aren't doing anything. I don't like that. So both players were basically on one level. And as my team elo was about 350 elo higher than the green players, yeah, basically both the red player and the pink player had a much better team elo than the green player. So the fact that he can still hold his own versus the other player is actually pretty impressive, because this guy is like 100 to 150 elo above the green player. So if you think about that especially, I think he's doing quite a nice job there. Although I must say, I think if I was the green player, I would have sent in these elephants to make some damage here, cause some damage. Yes, it's actually funny how we have a similar situation on both sides. Where on both sides we have two castles garrisoned and shooting each other. So that's interesting. Yeah, now I had Imperial Age there, and I think at this point it's pretty much clearly over. By the way, this what age are you in? I only wrote that to the green player. It wasn't like this was not addressed to the other team, because then it would be kind of mean, because when I'm mocking the other team for being worse than me, or yeah, for basically being in a very bad situation. So this was not to the enemy team, but this was actually to my own ally. Yeah, we have to see that in context, because one thing would be just mocking the other player, and the other thing is just making an inside joke to your ally, which is of course not the same. Okay, now I'm getting attacked by a ram, but I have my trebuchets, and of course it's pretty much clear once after this castle has fallen that there isn't much that they can do anymore. Yeah, and there was ram. Castle will be down in a couple of seconds, and at this point the game will be over. Okay, what is he doing here now with all his villagers? Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. And he's attacking the town center with his elephant, okay. And he wants to make a very offensive castle there. Right next to the stone and the gold. Okay, that's an interesting idea. Okay, castle went down, nice. Before, I must say, I would have preferred another castle right here, so that he cannot use the wood anymore. Or maybe even put it like here, So that the villagers are basically building it here, and the castle is standing here, because in that case, he would also shoot on this eco, because this position here. I'm just not so sure whether this position would need a castle. And now he has garrison the TC. I don't really like that, but overall it was a decent game. It's a little bit messy with these fish traps here, but yeah, just overall it was pretty good. Just some mistakes that I would point out in the video, but overall it looked pretty decent. And again, if you keep in mind that both players were actually on a higher elo than the green player, I think he did pretty well. He did at least as good as the pink player, I would say, and pretty much better than the red player. So yeah, that was a decent game. And let's return to the replays and have a look at the next Nomad game before we have a look at the African clearing game. Is this mixed up again? No, this looks legit actually. This looks legit. Do I now see the red player correctly? Ah, okay. Now I see him. That's nice. And let's have a look at the blue player. Ah, yeah, okay. So for some reason everything went back to normal in this replay. I don't know why it was so weird in the other one. It was really strange. Never go too close to the water. Okay, I'm just saying what I also told you in the last game as rule of thumb. But just play now. Yeah, again, this is pretty close to the water. That's true. Yeah, now he's asking me, yeah, should I even not go too close to the water, even if I play water? Yeah, the thing is, you never know if you will win water, because if you have a look at the enemy team, there is Malay and Burmese, and both are decent, and Malay actually even really strong on water. So even if you are Byzantines and Bengalis, it's quite likely to still lose water. So you shouldn't put your So you shouldn't put anything too close to the water. Yeah, but I'm telling him now, just play, and this is of course the right decision, because when the TC is already at 70%, of course you don't delete that at this point. Yeah, it was just some advice for the next game, basically. But let's speed this up. Okay, as you can see, just the typical build order. Everyone's basically going on wood. So all these fishing boats can go out. And he is basically doing the same. One sec. Where's Amari? Ah, the red guy. I wish my eco was that fast in normal games. That would make the game more interesting. Maybe I should play on turbo if I give it a second shot. Ah, no, he gave me those sheep because I told him that he shall scout on the map. And he was like, oh, no, I give the sheep to you, so you can make better use of that. Yeah, it's nice of him. But of course, for the next times, it would be nice if he scouted for himself on this map, because I basically make these videos of these games with him for him to get better. And yeah, you don't get better at scouting if you leave it to your ally all the time. Oops, what's happening here? What is happening here? Ah, okay. Here's a blue ship from the Malay attacking. It's also interesting how we are both already in feudal age with both enemies or both opponents. It's also funny that I get notified, although actually I am just a red player, or I just assigned myself as a red player. Yeah, it seems that the replays are a little bit buggy, but that's not the first time I encountered problems with that. Especially when we make a new patch, you often cannot open or play the replays anymore. Yeah, maybe Microsoft should put some tech guys at this problem and try to fix that, because this is a little bit irritating, a little bit annoying, I must say. Okay. Yeah, and I tell him to make fire ships, which is just sensible because he's Byzantines. So he basically has the best fire ships. This is weird. I don't see anything happening here. Maybe I did mix both things up again. Okay, that's weird. Let's check the blue one. Okay. Yeah, for some reason I have to select the blue player. Now I also see the rest here. Yeah. So it is also mixed up. Let's go water, please. But let's move ahead a little bit. Hello? And he's making a line of houses. Okay, that's interesting. Oops, what's going on there? Okay, the Zempa is fighting the green forces. The nice thing with being Bengalis on water maps is that the ships regenerate 15 HP per minute, which is pretty nice. And now he's also fighting as Byzantines on water, and of course the Byzantine fire ships will completely destroy the Malay fire ships. Okay, but let's speed it up. Nothing important or too interesting happening so far. First guy is in Castle Age. Okay. Yeah, the enemy, we were pretty good with advanced times. We didn't fight so much on water and didn't have such high of a score at this point, but we managed to go through the ages pretty fast, and that's also not too shabby. Okay, now there is a lot of farming. I don't really like that, because he already has three docks. At this point, it would have been nice to make another dock here. Just as you would make a new lumber camp once in a while, once you chopped a lot of trees. So it would have been nice to make just no dock here, so that he can take all his fishing ships and we don't have to travel such long distances. But you can all his fishing ships and basically take all these fishies here. So I think that's what I would have done, or what I would have preferred to see. One dock here maybe, one dock there. Couple of more fishing ships, and yeah, just establish dominance on water, which shouldn't be too hard with a team of Bengalis and Byzantines. I mean, those are two of the best 5 civilizations, or maybe, okay, at least 2 of the 10 best civilizations you can play on water and hybrid maps. So with some Bengali, Skirmbit warriors. So with some Bengali galleys and some Byzantine fire ships, it shouldn't be too hard to establish dominance on water, and then, as I said, just make some more docks and take the free food, because yeah, why would you want to pay gold, not gold, why would you want to pay resources, in this case wood, for farms, when you still have so much free food? It just doesn't make sense to spend so much resources on farms in that case. Okay, but the blue player is harassing us a little bit with his Skirmbit warriors, but I'm hunting them down with my Rafa, which is nice at this point. Yeah, but we are just 30 health points, so theoretically he could fight them with his villagers. The red player could fight them with his villagers. Yeah, but slowly but steady you see that some things are going on here. Ooh, and this ram got a nice beating, a nice shooting. So, the green player destroyed this fire ship, okay. Yeah, but I'm making my Rev Chariots, so everything is looking nice. The red player, he makes some stable units. I always feel like it's strange to go on stable units with Byzantines. I mean, we have pretty decent paladins. We don't have a blast furnace and we don't have bloodlines. But we have at least full armor and 160 hit points. So paladins is kind of valid with Byzantines. Also cataphracts, of course, especially if you're fighting versus a lot of infantry. Oh, these guys are not doing anything. I don't like that. But yeah, as you don't have bloodlines, it just very often doesn't feel like it's worth to attack into it just feels like it isn't worth to attack into cavalry so strong. So I don't like to see that usually. Or at least it always feels strange. Usually if I play Byzantines, I'd rather attack into Arbalester plus Halberdier plus Skirmisher plus maybe some fast imp bombard cannons, something like that. I mean, of course, you can also play camels if the enemy goes heavily on knights or scouts. You can make camels just because they're cheaper with the Byzantines. So I wouldn't say that all stable units are bad, but except for heavy camel, for heavy camel and paladin, I don't see much use for them. I mean, we also have Hussars, but we are looking to upgrades, and yeah, even generic light cavalry like Chinese light cavalry is much better than Byzantine Paladin, Byzantine Hussar, that costs a lot more to get there with full upgrades and just performs worse than normal light cav. I mean, we have 2 attack less and we have 5 HP less than normal. Yeah, than normal light cavalry. So, yeah, I just wouldn't focus on cavalry so strong with the Byzantines, but it's okay after all. I mean, he's making knights and camels, they're both decent units. And yeah, okay, let's speed this a little bit up because there's not so much happening at this point. Oh, I'm just making a new castle, which is interesting. And he's getting up his castle. I push them away with my Rafa. Okay. And slowly but steadily the action is starting. Let's see what the enemy is actually doing, or what the or better grammatically, what the enemy are doing, not is doing, are doing. Let's have a look at those. We're having those castles here. Of course, I went Imperial Age faster again, which is not too hard with Bengali economy. And I'm traveling down this castle here. Okay. Let's have a look at the waterway. Okay. I would say that they are making more use of their ships here on water. They're making more use of their water eco. They also might have built a new dock here, but it's still looking pretty fine. I mean, if you have a look at this is basically all the fish that the enemy has taken. So I would say they're making much better use of their water here. And again, we should have had some docks here. That would have been nice. And these boats here, they are also just standing around here, which is not nice. I also forgot some ships again. I should maybe make a hotkey for inactive military, so that this doesn't happen. I mean, if it's just 2, it's okay. But if it's 7, that's really not good, of course. Yeah, but at this point we should have killed water. Absolutely. I mean, these ships were just standing around here. He could easily have killed all these fishing ships and then destroyed the docks. Because, as I said, we already established some dominance on water, and yeah, it's just like a waste if you don't make some use of it. And yeah, as I said, we should have taken all this fish here and destroyed their eco, or at least their fish eco. Yeah, because now we are just standing around here, and if you have a look at it, it's 13 ships here standing around, which is pretty insane. Plus another 7, so it's 20 ships that are just inactive here in the in the west of the map, and yeah, it's just not good. Okay, let's kill some Arambai with our Rafas. And he's in again for some Karambit warrior action. Okay, at this point you would want to have a new lumber camp. He also could have made one here, maybe even with a TC. I mean, he has the resources for it. So yeah, he's making one town center, but with one villager, that's of course not enough. You would want to have 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 on there. Okay, but now we're having a nice trap war. We're trapping down the castles. He's killing the rams. That's looking good, actually. I go into melee mode with the Rafas. Okay, that's also looking nice. And now I should actually... I just want to say I should have attacked the Gambit Warriors. But this is already what I'm doing at this point. Yeah, and now go here. Yeah, exactly, to kill the Arambai and the trebuchets that are still there. But this castle, yeah, it will go down. I cannot save it at this point. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I killed his castle. He killed my castle. So it's kind of a fair trade. But we also killed some Gambit Warriors there. So this is all looking pretty good, actually. Okay, and I'm killing this TC at first for some reason. And the green player resigned because he doesn't want to play with anymore.
Yes.
Okay, I can remember after that game we had a little bit of a chat going on, and I told him that he did some nice fighting, and he said, yeah, it was basically all you. And if you look at the score, that's true, but I can remember that the kill-death ratio was actually pretty close to each other. So yeah, or at least the kills were pretty close to each other. So I had 58 kills, he had 56 kills. So he did more than I noticed during the game, and also he did more than he probably noticed himself. I mean, of course, the heavy lifting was on my side, but the main difference here was basically just having a much better eco than he did. So his fighting were not bad, was not bad. He had a decent amount of kills. Okay, granted, I think of these, how many was it? 56 or 58? Something like that. Yeah, of these 56. I think probably like 30 to 40 would become Gambit Warriors. So theoretically we could call them, count them as half kills, but yeah, let's not be too picky about that. I think he did a decent job there, and I made my Rafa army, which I enjoy to make. Oh, we still don't have bloodlines. That shouldn't happen normally. I think I was just making a stable. No, I wanted to make. Okay, that's how it went. Yeah, I can remember. I wanted to make a stable at this point, but then we had already given up, so I didn't have the time to make a stable for bloodlines for my Rafas. We could have needed it, and when you already have 22, that's something that you would want to do, especially if you already have the elite upgrade for them. But yeah, all in all, a decent game. Yeah, on water we have to have a closer eye. Next time we should make more use of these resources here. Also, he was at 85 pop at this point. Yeah, I don't know at what point I was. 1 sec. Is that me? Oh no, okay, that's the enemy. Okay, that's me now. Okay. So I was at 131, so you see I had around 50 more units on the field. I think like 30 of those were probably eco units. The other were military. But yeah, it's of course clear that when I have 50 more units on the field, that of course I also have a much higher score. But all in all, as I said, nice game. Just have a closer look at water, and don't forget your units somewhere in the west of the map, and things are actually looking quite decently. And yeah, just remember to check in at times, and also kill the fish eco. And yeah, we're actually good to go. So this was a decent game, I would say. Nothing too bad here. Okay, but now he's making fish traps again. Yeah, okay. I mean, not making new docks is one thing, and having a very long transportation way is one thing. But making fish traps when, how many are those? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he made at least 6 fish traps. Yeah, that's of course not good. making fish traps before making new docks doesn't really make sense. Because before 600 wood, he could have easily built 3 docks. Actually, even 4 docks. I think a dock is exactly 150. I'm not sure if it's 150 wood or 175, but I think it's 150, yeah. So actually, yeah, with all this wood here, you could have made 2 more docks and 2 more fishing, no, 3 more fish, 4 more fishing ships. 2 more docks, 1 dock here, 4 more fishing ships. That would have been much more effective than just putting some fish traps here. But then again, it's kind of okay. I mean, if you were melee, it would be much more reasonable because the melee they pay less for their fish traps, and also they get more food out of them. So if you had been melee in this instance, it would have been kind of okay to do that. But in every other scenario, just 2 docks and fishing boats and you're fine. But yeah, overall, look kind of okay actually. Let's have a look at the upgrades. Okay, we could need some more upgrades on the cavalry here. We could need some more pierce armor.
Hi.
But it was okay. It was kind of okay. Actually, what I liked about the cavalry is that we could kill the rams so nicely. But usually, as if I had played the Byzantines in this matchup, I personally would have made I would have made some archers instead. I would have made some archers instead. I mean, he still has some gold here, and when he could have killed the rams with a mixture of archers, skirmishers, and some siege, like some mangonels. That's how I would have played the Byzantines. But it's okay if you want to play cavalry. I mean, knights are always a good unit, even if it's Viking knights, just because they're very strong and they can deal a lot of damage. So I wouldn't have played the Byzantines like that with cavalry. I would have played them with archer range units, but yeah, it's okay, it's okay. Main big problem here is just all these boats here standing around because it doesn't make any sense. But apart from that, it was a nice game, I would say. Let's have a look at the statistics. Yeah, you should have been at Imperial Age after 35 minutes at least, because with Byzantines fast imp is actually always a good idea. Or almost always. Yeah, now you can see that I had much more villagers also. 36 more villagers. Yeah, we need to work on that. My guess is that you simply forgot to have the town center running all the time. Oops, what's happening here? That's weird. The interface says, whoops, what was that, please? Whoop. Oh, okay, now it's returned back to normal. That was really weird. I never had this. Hello? It looks like the game is having a problem here or some kind of crash. Ah, no, okay, now it goes again. Now it works again. 1 sec, let me have a look if OBS is still recording. Yeah, OBS seems to be recording. Okay, that was really weird. Good, but that much about this one. And now we have a last one, 2 versus 2. This was a crazy game, I can already tell you from the start on. Okay, it looks like it looks like this time it's
Yes.
actually. Is this correct now? Are the colors correct now? Yeah, I think so. Let's have a look. The enemy are yellow and red.
Kid.
Okay, it looks at least as if the team colors are
Yeah.
correct this time. Okay, good. That's something. Yeah, let's speed this up. I don't think there's too much interesting going on in the Dark Ages because I cannot remember any fighting there. Yeah, we basically just all got ourselves a nice spot at the edge of the map.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I killed this rhino and yeah, I made some jokes about that. I thought this was funny actually. Yeah, I picked the Mongols. I don't usually play them. I don't play them often. But I know that on this map there's a lot of hunts, basically, a lot of rhinos and a lot of zebras. So I basically took the Mongols because I thought I would make a very good use of their hunting bonus on this map. But so far looking pretty good. I like that he's going on fish because fishing fish with fishermen is a very effective way of getting in food. I think it's actually the fastest way of collecting fish, and some of the fastest ways of collecting food. I think it is actually even the fastest way of collecting food, except maybe fishing deep sea fish with some Imperial Age Japanese fishing boats. I think they are even better. But yeah, anyways, you have a high Gefa rate with fish if you fish it with villagers, especially if it is shore fish, which is usually the only fish that villager can fish on most maps. Yeah, but he is taking the fish, so I like that. Now he's taking the rhino and also having a zebra here with DKs. I don't like that too much, but I like that he made this mill and that he had gone on the fish, but he should have finished the fish. But now he's on the rhino, so that's also kind of okay. Scores again looking pretty decent for us. And I'm starting to make a stable and a market, so I can soon go up. And he started to make some farms. Okay, okay. Should be making more farms at this moment because he has a lot of wood, so he could easily pull 3 or 4 people from wood on farms and make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 farms. I think that would be a good idea. Okay, now the yellow player is in with some scouts there. And he's ringing the bell. I don't like that. Okay, but now I come in and I also have some camels and zack, camel strike and you're gone, my friend. And I'm starting to expand on this side. So yeah, at this point it actually looks really nice for us, but I can tell you it won't stay like that for the whole game. Okay, I now have the Hun symbol. Okay, that's weird because I thought I actually had the right player. Okay, okay. So I think I have to orient on this symbol here. 1 sec. Okay. And now I have the right player. Okay. Yeah, so this seems to be correct. Yeah, I don't know why it mixes up the colors so strangely. It's really weird. Oh, and he's making a double gate here, but he's making the whole wall, house wall plus a palisade gate with 1 villager. He should at least have taken 3 villagers, like these 2 here on wood. They could have helped making the wall. Let's get through it. It's actually a shame I didn't drop a castle around here, because I think that would have been quite effective to pressure the enemy. Just 1 castle here and maybe some camels or so. Yeah, like these ones. And I could have made a lot of pressure here, because with 1 castle here I could have shot in the gate here, and then I could have killed the TCs with some mangonels. Because all his eco is basically on this spot, so I think 1 castle here would have been very effective. let's go on. It's actually looking kind of decent at the moment. I also like that the enemy team has basically the same problem or the same thing that we are having going on here, which is that one player is much stronger than the other player. So in our team it's 700 points difference at this point, and in the enemy team it's around 800. So yeah, I like the fact that this game is basically a balanced game by having two teams with unbalanced teammates in one game, in one team.
No.
And the enemy is making some pikes here as he is killed, which makes sense. I think in this case you either go skirmisher or janitor or maybe hand cannoneer even. But I think the janitor would have been a nice unit to counter these pikemen, because the problem is with killed pikemen that they are faster than usual pikemen. So it would have been nice to have something mobile versus them. I think I would have liked to see that. Yeah, I would have liked to see him make some janitors, because those camels, of course, they won't be very helpful versus pikemen. It's actually really strong of them to make this kind of stone wall. I think the next time that we are playing, we should be doing this exactly same. Because I can remember that I did have resources for it. So having a nice stone wall here to save a trade would have been nice too. Yeah. Now he's making pikemen, but he already knows that the enemy has a lot of halberdier. Yeah, and as you can see, I sent him some resources.
Yes.
Problem is just he's making the completely wrong units, and again he has the problem of inactivity. You see, as I'm going here and making some attacks and doing some damage, the thing is that he's just giving units, and I don't like that. They're just standing around there. Units are no use when you don't make use of them. So I don't like that at this moment. Oh, here's another relic that I missed. I could have picked this one up. I wrote make Jin, but I wanted to say janitor. I probably was distracted by something. I didn't finish that. Okay, now the enemy is making some Cav archers. And we can see a nice fight of Mangudai versus Cav archers. But this looks pretty much in favor for the yellow player, because it seems like the masses are just bigger. But I still have some camels here and some other Mangudai, so it's not completely... It's not completely unfair, actually. I also like how close the score still is. I'm really pretty close to the red player at this point, and yeah, the green player is very close to the yellow player, so I like that. And he's making halberdier too. Okay. Okay. It's interesting that we are going from this market to the other market. Instead of just putting one new market in this spot, which would have been much easier. Yeah, but okay, who am I to judge other people? And again, some resources, wood and gold are coming in. And now the Celt is coming with some siege rams plus skirmishers. And he's countering this with his camels, but he will lose the camels here. I don't like that. But he's picking up the skirmishers. I do like that. Okay. That's actually interesting. This was pretty much a throw by the red player. I actually expected him to do better than that. And at this point, I slowly started to make janitor myself.
No.
So you can see, I make some extra archer ranges at this point. course, Janitor are of course a much better choice if you're fighting Kev Archers plus Halberdier. I think I also should have made some siege by that point. Like I think maybe heavy Scorpion or just some siege on it just would have been nice. I mean, if you're Mongols, you actually always want to make siege at some point, if you can afford it, just because their siege is so strong. With drill, their siege is much faster, and actually in many scenarios, I would even say that Mongol siege is better than Celt siege. So shoot him down. It's looking kind of okay-ish at the moment. And again, I'm sending in the rest here. As you can see, I pretty much would have won convincingly versus the yellow player, but we're having a bit of a problem on the other side here. But the score is still pretty close, and yeah, also the green player does some decent stuff. And now he lost a lot of Janitor, which is not nice. He should have put some normal skirmishers as meat shield or something else like that. Or maybe even infantry, I don't know. Lovers, do we have decent infantry? Yeah, it's actually okay. It's actually okay. They only lack Gambesons on their champions. I think the green player, he might have wanted to go champions at this point. But then again, I think even I could have gone champions. I don't do infantry with Mongols much, so I don't know whether they are a valid option. But we have full upgrades in the blacksmith. So actually I could have gone champions too. Mine would only have cost a little bit more food than for the Berber player, but I could have done some champions there. It's actually funny how the big problem in this game was not that the yellow player made a lot of Kev Archers, but the problem was actually... Oh, and the castle goes down. The problem was actually that the yellow player made so many Halberdiers. They were harder to deal with than the Kev Archers. I can remember at some point I made some siege workshops down here, but I think I should have gone siege earlier. Especially versus those masses of Halberdier plus skirmisher. Just some siege onagers or just some normal onagers and some scorpions in there. I think if I had like 3 or 4 onagers here and some scorpions, that would have made things much harder for the yellow player. And then if he tries to counter with like Cavalier or Paladin, I could have made some camels as Mongol player. So I think that would have been an idea. And again, the green player is giving his army. But what I like about this is the fact that we have full blacksmith upgrades. So 12 plus 4 attack, 2 plus 3 armor. I like that. I also like that the camels have full upgrades from a blacksmith, but I don't like that we are still missing chemistry, and especially against those big masses of siege rams, it would have been nice to see some bombard cannons. Yeah, and now he's also throwing a lot of units. I mean, most of them are just janitors, but still, I don't know how much they cost, but I think it's like 80 resources or so. No, it's 75, but it's 75 resources per janitor, so you don't want to throw them anyways. Yeah, now the siege rams come in, which makes things a little bit problematic. And you can also see that the score is starting to change a lot here at this point. We're already 4,000 points ahead of us. Yeah, but let's speed this up a little bit. And I try to save this castle here, but as you can see, that is not really successful. So I'm losing this one and also losing this one, of course. Sorry, I was. I can play with you. Okay, this sentence is a little bit fucked up. Sorry, I was. I can play with you. yeah, he's basically sorry that the game isn't going towards our favor, but it's okay. I mean, we don't only play to win games, we also play to...
Gold, please.
we just play to have fun after all, and I mean, if we throw a game or two, it's perfectly okay. I mean, it's also no shame to make some mistakes in games. I mean, that's just normal. The shame would only be if you make mistakes in a game and then don't learn of it and make the mistakes next time again and again. So that would be a little bit problematic, but yeah, it's okay if you throw a couple of games at times. Yeah, but now the Kelt player, he's going heavily into Siege, he's making Siege Onager, he's making Scorpions, and as you can see, we all have the Furor Celtica, which means that we have more hit points, and yeah, now this army here of Siege Rams plus Onagers plus Scorpions is pretty hard to counter. And the castles are melting, of course. It's actually funny how he threw this, because if he had put in his Onagers close to his Rams there, he probably could have killed these Mangudai very easily. But yeah, at this point it's pretty obvious that we are not going to win this. But I tried to drag on the game a little bit longer, just to see what the Green Ally is doing so far. And I'm sending him some gold at times, so he can make more units. So at this point, basically, I already knew very convincingly that we had lost this one, but I was still making some units and fighting on, just for the fun of it. Yeah, but as you can see, quite obviously, Kelt late game is very hard to counter. I think what the green player should have done at this point is just making bombard cannons. Even if it doesn't fix all the problems, but just imagine like 4 or 5 bombard cannons here, and he would very easily have shot down those Onagers, but now the castle goes down, and at this point it's pretty much obvious that he cannot do anything to prevent this Onager mess anymore. And now the yellow player also has the resources to send instant paladins, and yeah, as you can see, I'm still taking some nice fights here and doing some decent damage. But yeah, as this side is completely fallen basically at this point, or almost completely fallen at this point, and the enemy is making paladins, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard in general actually to face paladins as a Mongol player, because you don't have any halberdier. It's even harder in my opinion with Turks, because Turks don't have that many great options versus paladins. Actually only heavy camel and shooting them down with Janissary. But yeah, I can also only make I can only make Mangudai with a meat shield of Hassa and some heavy camels versus paladins. And yeah, I can of course counter paladins as a Mongol player. I mean, Mangudai is still doing a decent job versus paladins. The problem is just that all these things are pretty gold intensive. And if you don't have halberdier and the enemy is making a lot of oh, that's a nice shot. If you don't have if you don't have halberdier and you don't have gold, it's very hard to counter paladins anymore. Oh, and now I'm losing this one. Shame. I thought I would take another Scorpion at this point. Yeah, but this is pretty close to GG now, of course. I think there is no denying in that. Make traps to counter. I wanted to write make traps and make trebuchet to counter. Yeah, as I said, bombard cannon would have been nicer. It's actually not nice microing what he's doing here, sending all these Onagers in like that. This is actually highly punishable. But at this point, with the low eco that we have and with the small units that we still have, you can of course do that. Yeah, now he's getting some very juicy shots here at my Janitors and my Mangudai. This castle goes down, and at this point it's pretty much clearly over, of course. GG, we tried our best, but it wasn't enough. Okay, that's pretty funny way to jump out of this game. Yeah, the funny thing actually was that I had a look later on, and the red player, he was pretty much the same elo as me. I think he was like 1120 1 versus 1, and the yellow player was pretty close to the green player. I think the yellow player was like 850 1 versus 1, and the green player was like 820. So yeah, as I said, this was a pretty interesting game because the teams were not super unbalanced, but had I known what is coming in for me, I might have switched to Siege earlier. Maybe I also would have picked Celts. With Celts, I'm usually doing better than with Mongols. I still haven't figured out the Mangudai enough to make full use of the Mongol potential. But yeah, it was actually a funny game. It was also interesting because the better players were not mirrored, but they were like it was like rotated. Like red and blue were pretty much comparable in green and yellow, and yeah, it definitely was a crazy game. And I like this dynamic that in both teams there was one player who was clearly better than the other player. So this gave off some very interesting vibe here. But I must say, the yellow player actually made a much better job versus me than my green ally versus the red player. Yeah, it's no shame. I think we have played well. And as you've seen, played late game with some trade, and also a Han late game with Paladin. That is a very hard to counter composition there. So I don't blame anyone for losing that game. And it was fun, as you could see. We had some pretty insane moments there. Yeah, but overall, a nice game. I think you could take something from that. Yeah, and actually, as you can see, the statistics is not looking that bad. So I have 921 kills, the red player has 1000, so he has 80 more. The green player has 640 kills, the yellow player has 531, so he has 110 more. So basically it's just a couple of dozens of kills that are different, or that would differ here. The big problem is just, as you can see, that the red player just took down the buildings, and of course the buildings are more important than just some units. I mean, 70 taking down 80 buildings more is of course much more valid than just taking down 80 more units. Oh, it's actually interesting that I had more trade profit than the other players. I actually thought that yellow and red would have been pretty much in the same car park, but they aren't. And it's interesting that the green player did not have any trade at all. I think he should have made at least like 10 trade cards at this point. So if you're still watching this, Mardi, next time please make some trade cards, because yeah, I did send you some gold, and as you can see, I had plenty of gold, so I could provide you. But next time, please make your own trade cards, because then your ally doesn't have to boost and carry you the whole game. Oh, I actually was the first one in Imperial Age. That's interesting. And the first one in Feudal Age, but the red player was the first one in Castle Age. Okay. And I had the most relic gold. Okay, that's also interesting. Yeah, but up until this point, it was actually looking pretty decently for us. Yeah, I wish I just had pressured the yellow player more. Just take my camels to the south and make a castle there. I think that could have been a winning idea. Okay, the yellow player had a lot of has researched a lot of techniques here. That's interesting, and I have least research. Okay. That's also interesting, because normally I research a lot of things in games, so I'm usually not the guy with the lowest research count. Oh, and I sent 20,000 West almost, so I think at least half of that was gold in the end. Yeah, that's definitely not enough. 9,870 gold. It's definitely not enough. You should have made some trade cards, so you can make bombard cannons. I would have made some bombard cannons myself, but the problem is that Mongols don't have bombard cannons in the tech tree, so of course I couldn't do any. I tried to kill some scorpions with my onagers, which I also could, but yeah, you've seen it. I couldn't land the shots that I was hoping for. I mean, after all, I had drill onagers, so I could micro them a little bit, and yeah, Mongol Siege is definitely more than just decent. We are one of the best siege civilizations in the game. But yeah, just having some cannons that have more range and getting some nice bombard shots, maybe even with Hufnid from the Bohemians or motion engines from the Ethiopians, that would have been a very nice thing, just to have some bombard cannons and do some juicy shots here. But yeah, I didn't have any in my tech tree, so I couldn't make any. And yeah, as I said, I think the green player, he should have made some really sick trade here, and then make an army of like I don't know, 30 camels, a lot of generators, or maybe even just normal skirmishers, and then also some bombard cannons, because with the cannons he could have pushed versus the siege very nicely. So if you're watching this, yeah, just make some bombard cannons in this kind of situation next time. And I think we actually have a decent chance, because a long time in the game, score was actually very close. So I think if next time we get into this with a little bit better strategy and better communication and better game plan, I think that this is actually winnable, this matchup. I think the two dudes, we played better in this game, but I think we're definitely in the realm of beatable for us too. So yeah, maybe we'll fight them again in a team game, which is pretty unlikely, but maybe we will one day. And I think if we make a rematch of this game, yeah, maybe next time we will win this. But yeah, as I told you, some trade would have been nice, and more cannons would have been nice. I don't want to repeat stuff over and over again, but I just wanted to make that point out to have you basically take something from this game. Yeah, but overall you didn't do too bad actually. I mean, you had a lot of kills also going on. You had 640 kills. Yeah, of course you must also see that you lost more units when you have killed. So you were not the most efficient fighter here. I think I was probably, yeah, I was the most efficient here. My kill death ratio is nearing 3 to 2. No, not really. It's not 3 to 2. It's rather like 7 to 5. But it's definitely decent at this point. But what I like about your statistic is that you had the largest army. So at least you managed to get hold of a very high amount of military. So that's nice. Yeah, I like that you had the biggest military, because when you attack the enemy with higher numbers, you're usually taking the better trades, especially if you're coming with ranged units like longbows or whatever. So yeah, I like the big numbers there. Next time, as I said, we should also make a wall maybe. We should take an example in how we called Pink Floyd and make a wall. Yeah, maybe we should do that next time. But apart from that, as I said, it was a decent game actually. Another problem is that your eco wasn't very spaced out, so all your eco is basically in this part here. If the red player had played this better, what he should have done is taking all his onagers here and shooting down both houses and the TC, because then you wouldn't have had any eco anymore. But now he's attacking in the middle. I mean, yeah, of course you can also win like that, but the best strategy would have been to just shoot all this eco down.
Yeah.
Sorry, because the problem here is that all your eco is basically in one point. And you should have tried to do what I did, which is spacing out your eco, and I had some of my eco here, some here, some here. So my eco was much more spaced out. You maybe could have gone here, making another TC here and pushing a little bit in this direction. Because yeah, having all your eco in one spot is pretty problematic, because the yellow player also could have gone Mess Hussar Or just send in his paladins here, and yeah, if all your ecos in one spot, that's of course a nightmare if you do that. Good, but that much about that. This video is already going on for much longer than I actually intended to. I didn't want to make such a long video, but yeah, I just thought as I made a couple of review videos for the other guy, and also yeah, took so much time in coaching him, I thought it's just fair to actually also have a look at the games that I played with the green player now. And yeah, it's funny to see how some of the mistakes that you made were the same. Like, for instance, when you were queuing up all this military and didn't use it. So, not using military has been a problem for the both of you. But as I said, the red player has gotten much better already. The red player managed with my coaching to get from 790 elo to a little bit above 1000. So he made more than 200 elo in a week. So he improved by 200 elo or more than 200 elo in a week, which is pretty insane. And yeah, the green player, when we first played versus each other, he was at 700 elo. In these games, I would have said he played like 800 at least. And I'm pretty confident that we can also push you to 900 elo. So I'm pretty confident that we can also push you 200 elo points higher in the ladder. So that should be a possibility. But yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you, Amadi, could take something out from it, could take some of my hints and advice to maybe play better in future times. But yeah, I actually like these games, especially the ones that we played on Nomad. I think you did a pretty decent job there. The only thing that you did there was leaving the boats or the fire galleys in that one game to leave them in the west and not care about them anymore. So that is something you should work on. But apart from that, it was a decent start. And yeah, especially on Nomad, I would say that you actually play above your elo. So as I said, if we work a little bit on your gameplay, I'm pretty convinced that we can get you to 900 elo. Yeah, and I would be actually quite thrilled to see that, to have a look at you getting to 900 elo, because as I said, it's probably very much possible. And the other guy has also done it. He went from 800 to 1000. And if he can go from 800 to 1000, I'm very convinced you can go from 700 to 900. Good. But that having been said, I hope this was entertaining or maybe even, how do you say that? Meaningful to some of you, to some extent at least. I hope you could take something from it, and especially Amadi, I hope could take something from it and not repeat the mistakes that he did in the games, so that he will play better in future games. Yeah, I hope you had some fun watching this video. It would be nice to get a thumbs up from you, and if anything is going on in your mind that you want to say about the game, you can leave it in the comments. And if you don't want to miss any more videos, you can of course always subscribe to my channel. And yeah, that having been said now, thanks for watching, guys, and it would be nice to see you in future videos.